Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is called is about a young woman called Joyce Marie McLain. Her case would be unsolved for nigh on like 30 years until they finally found out who did this to her, and then an arrest was made. Let's jump in. Joyce Marie McLain was born on the 4th of September in 1963 in Vermont in USA. She had a younger sister as well, so she was eldest of the two children. And she was a lovely young woman. She was very bright, very intelligent, very talented, very interested in music, sports, athletics. Honestly, like you name it, and she was there interested in it. She went to Shenak High School in East Millinocket in Maine in the fall, and she did really well there. She was an honor student. She got really good, decent grades and became a member of the school orchestra. She did lots of things from that. Her favorite instrument was the saxophone. She then joined the drama club, tennis team. She did sports. She was a cheerleader. Honestly, she absolutely did just everything. And even though she did all of these things, and you're thinking, like, how did she find the time to do everything? She managed to balance everything, like, really, really well. Oh, goodness me, cat. It's a catdemic. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Tigger! Okay, I give up. She was a wonderful person and a wonderful role model. That's not right. Role model for her little sister Wendy. Now, her mother Pam also said that she was very musically talented to the stage where she would literally pick up an instrument and be able to learn it very, very quickly, and it came so easy to her. She also composed her own music too, which is just, well, it's incredible. Let's get to that fateful day on the 8th of August in 1980. Joyce was 16 years old. She was looking forward to her future. She was looking forward to turning 17. She had big plans for that. And because she was so talented in all these different things and had, what's the saying? A finger in all different pies? That's probably wrong. That's probably not even right. But what I mean is that she did all these different things. So basically she could have done anything that she wanted. She was quite intelligent. She was just so talented in all these different things. She had a lot of options for when she became an adult. And she was looking forward to that. She was looking forward to doing these things. On that fateful day, she was out with her friends and spent a lot of time swimming and around this lake. I think she was at a lake or a pool or something. I don't know. Something along those lines. And despite having spent the entire day doing that, when she got home, she decided that she could fit in a little jog as well. So about 7 o'clock, she put on her pink jogging suit and off she went. She said goodbye to her mum and that she would be back later. And she was training for the soccer team, so she wanted to get a head start on it, and she went out for a jog. Now, jogging wasn't her favorite thing to do in the world, but she knew that it was like a good exercise and it was good to keep her stamina and her fitness up, and so she would go for these jogs. Oh, I think it was about 7:30, sorry, that she left, not 7. The reason that she did it a bit later on, it was still light out, so it wasn't actually dark at all, but she did it a bit later on because it wasn't as hot at that point. The sun was not at its hottest, which I've literally just said, so I don't know why I'm going over that. We'll just ignore that. Oh my goodness. Sorry about the cats. By 8:30, Joyce had not come back home. And her mother Pam knew that that was not right. So she goes out and she starts looking for her. She looks everywhere in the car, etc., but does not find Joyce. Nighttime turns into morning, and all the family and friends are getting together and doing search parties for her. Obviously, at this point, they also called the police too. Now, originally, I think they thought that maybe she had met up with friends or something like that, But sort of one by one, her friends all confirmed that they were not with her, and so everyone really started to worry. They searched for 2 days, and on the 10th of August, a volunteer who was a few years younger than Joyce knew who she was. He was called Peter Lally. He was the one who sadly came across her body. Now, they were also searching groups, like I said, for 2 days and things, and then he decided on this one occasion that he was going to go out and just have another look around. After everyone had searched, they were having a break or something along those lines. So he's out on his own and he's searching, and he comes across Joyce, and not in a good way. In any way that anyone would ever want to find Joyce, sadly. It was about 6 a.m. when he found her, and she was in the woods behind their school. So he started screaming her name. He realised that she was probably dead. He could see that she had been beaten and things, and she was partially nude. He ran home after screaming her name, and then he called the police. Then later on, as soon as they got there, he led them to where her body was. By partially nude, apparently she only had her socks on. She was found lied on her side next to this rock. She had been beaten excessively, and apparently a section of her skull had caved in. Awful. Her hands were tied behind her back with a piece of blue cloth or a piece of clothing or something like that. And of course, police tried to get anything that they could off the body, but it had been raining excessively for a couple of nights. So they thought that they wouldn't be able to get much off of her. When she went for autopsy and things, they found out that because obviously she's naked pretty much, you're thinking the worst, that, you know, it was a sexually motivated attack or whatever. Well, not the worst, but you know what I mean. And it actually turns out that she was not SA'd at all, which when looking into this before I looked further into it, found that very strange because, again, she's nude. Why would anybody do that if that wasn't their intent, kind of thing? But I mean, you'll see why as we get through it. Now, apparently police were not able to get any DNA or any fingerprints from Joyce's body, again, probably mostly because of the rain. What they did find, though, was one thing that they thought could have been used as a weapon against Joyce. So she was found near power lines, and on these power lines have these big ceramic, like, glass insulators, and they found one of those broken into it like a shard, and some of Joyce's wounds matched the imprints of what the shard would have made. People quickly thought that it may have been Peter who came across her body, but he was ruled out. And I guess because he was just searching on his own, people thought it was him, but, you know, the police did rule him out very quickly. So they started looking elsewhere. There was rumours that people were, I don't know, in a local hangout and causing trouble for her while she was running. Because what she did is she sort of did laps around. She ran out to around the school and sort of would do laps around the school or the field or something. And they said that people were hanging out there and were giving her grief. There was like a construction site not far away with 700 workers. So, you know, could it possibly have been one of them? However, the police really did think that it was someone more local, someone that she actually knew rather than just a complete stranger. Now, there was also something else that happened around that time. In fact, on the same night that Joyce was killed, there was a 19-year-old guy called Philip Scott Fournier. And he had gotten into an accident. So basically, he had stolen a car out of a garage, drove it off, crashed it, and ended up almost dying. He ended up in a coma for, not sure whether it was 3 weeks or something like that. And, you know, it was two tragedies around about the same time. The police did wonder whether he had anything to do with Joyce, obviously, because it was just strange that they both happened the same night. When he recovered, they did question him, but he said that he didn't remember anything. And so that was that. Scott did have an initial interview, which is, like I said, they decided that it wasn't, like, he wasn't a suspect as a part of that. He also went to his pastor and said that he was having some strange dreams about Joyce's actual murder. And when he spoke to the police in his first interview, he said that he remembers some bits were coming back and he remembered being at a party and that he had overheard some conversations about a girl being assaulted. He would then meet up with the police quite a few times after that to just give them any information that he possibly could. It seemed like he was trying to help. He gave names of several boys who were at the party, some of which were Joyce's friends, some of which were not. And they were looking into all these different people, but none of it ever panned out. None of it led anywhere, and sadly her case would go cold for many, many years. Now Pam was just so determined in her hunt for her daughter's killer, as you would be. Any distraught parent would. That's all they want. Well, they want their daughter to have not gone through this in the first place. They want the daughter there, which is just another story, but there you go. She would not rest. She did want her daughter's killer found, and she pressured the police into keeping the case open, keep looking into it, keep doing everything that they could. She wanted to get her daughter's body exhumed to test, as DNA technology improved. She wanted to see whether they could find anything. I think at first they refused to do so, but she carried on. She did interviews, she did open a charity, she did fundraisers. Eventually, in 2009, she actually did get money to exhume her daughter's body. And this was done, again, like I said, the police refused to do it, so she did it off her own back, and she got the autopsy done with this donated money. Now, it was said that the autopsy didn't lead to any new findings, but it sort of started the police again, and they assigned a cold case team to her case. They started looking into it again, and obviously Philip's name came up again. Well, not again, it was already all over there. They realised that they didn't actually have a record of his initial interview on their files, and so they know that they'd spoke to his pastor and whatever else, so they went and tracked him down. And this is when his pastor actually told them that he had confessed to murdering Joyce to himself, to the pastor. And then the more they dug in it, they realised that Scott had, like Philip Scott, people call him Scott, I don't know why, but Philip had this fascination with Joyce, that he really, really liked her. He took up jogging, which is what she did. He told his stepfather that he was going to take up jogging, which was totally, out of character for him. It wasn't a hobby that he had done, but he saw Joyce running around, and that was one of the things that she did to keep fit. So he suddenly decided that he was going to take up running. All these different things put into it. Do you know what? I'm sure I've seen an article somewhere that they said that they did find something on Joyce's body with the autopsy that led to Scott as well, but then I've also read that there wasn't, so I'm a bit unsure on that one. If they did find anything on her body to point to Scott, they never released what that was. So, I mean, I don't know. One article says they didn't find anything, one article says they did. I don't know on that one, but either way, they decided that Scott was their man, and in 2016, he was finally arrested for the murder of Joyce McLain. He said he was innocent, as they normally do, and he wanted a trial by jury, which happened on the 22nd of January in 2018. Of course, these things normally take years. Now, something I actually have missed out, which is very important. Scott, he changed his story loads of times. He said that he killed her. He said that he didn't kill her. He did plead not guilty, like he wanted a trial by jury. But one of the things that he actually said was the reason that he didn't assault her, was because she was on her period. And when the autopsy was done, it was actually found out that she was on her period at the time. And that information was not released to the public. So that is some very damning evidence that he knew about that nobody else knew apart from the police. Nobody knew that. So how could he have known that unless he was there? He was the perpetrator. So the prosecutors tied together the events of what happened, or what they thought happened that night. That he followed Joyce into the woods. He tried to SA her. Obviously beat her, whatnot. Stabbed her with that ceramic thing. He realized that she was on her period and didn't want to then sexually essay her. I don't know. So then he killed her, brutally killed her. They then said that he then ran to the party close by, and that would be his alibi. He had a few drinks there, panicked, probably because he was getting drunker and, you know, all the thoughts are swirling around his head. Realised that he had to get out of there, and so he stole that oil truck, that it was an oil truck, not a car, because he realised that he needed to get out of town. He drove that through the doors, straight out, crashed into a car, flipped it, and ended up in a coma. And then, whether he lost his memory or not, it was... I can't comment on that, but it also could have been very convenient that, obviously, you're in a coma. That is some serious stuff. So yeah, he could have had memory loss from that. Very believable, basically. So even if he... I'm not saying he didn't, because he might have, but if he didn't, and he was lying, the police will believe him because he's just been in a fucking frigging traumatic accident, and there you go. There can be memory loss with such things. The good news is, whether... Well, I guess it's good news if you think he did it. It's not good news if you think he didn't. Personally, I think that there's enough evidence and enough... Like, the things that he knew and said about the crime scene that wasn't released. How did he know them if he didn't do it? So to me, he did it. But some people believe that he didn't do it and that there wasn't enough evidence to try him. But anyway, he got sentenced and he got 45 years for the murder of Joyce McLain. He is still in prison now. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Do you think that he did it, or do you think that he didn't? Again, personally, I think that the sentence was right and that he did actually do it. I believe, yeah, I genuinely do think he did it. But there you go. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it. But that's all I have today on this case. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.